So, as Max said, there was not so much time to do this. And as soon as not everyone used, at least as far as I know, Touch and Phonegap, I prepare some small presentation about how to start and what to use, and how to start in, I don't know, in 15 minutes to develop for Touch using Phonegap. Because we internally use Phonegap and Touch 2.3 version for building our application that today was released on the market successfully and accurate. So I'm a developer in Jet Collaboration and worked on different projects before. I worked on a few months on GXT in one company, and last 2 years I worked, not 2, 1.5 worked on Joy Collaboration, and we're using the XTJS, and the last 3-4 months Sencha Touch. So what we need to start actually develop for Phonegap, for phone using Phonegap and Cordova. We need Cordova, we need Sencha command line. I prefer Chrome for basic for usage, and actually Android or iOS, whatever, or any other, but it's like the most popular. So Phonegap Cordova, they released third version in August, I think. They completely rewrite what that was before. Now they use Node and Node Package Manager for running and building application using Cordova and Phonegap. I spent some time on figure out what is the difference between Cordova and Phonegap, because they are practically the same, except that Cordova is like a community version, Phonegap is a Adobe version, and they use it with some other products, like for example Phonegap build that I will show later. So if you have a node installed, then just npm install Cordova or Phonegap, whatever you want, and that's it, you're already done. So next one, you need a Sencha command line. This is like, if someone familiar with web development, right now is Grunt library framework is used everywhere for running, for live reload application, and for compressing SAS and so on. But Sencha made their own Sencha command line tool a long time ago, and they improving it all the time. And this is like a based tool that you have to use during during the development. They allow you to generate class views and so on using Sencha command line. For example, if you need to create a new project, you just run this command, specify name, path, and that's it. And Sencha will generate like a basic structure for a project that you will use in the future. Then, if you need, and from 2.30, they add support internally, officially, Phonegap and Cordova. You just type Sencha Cordova init or Sencha Phonegap init, whatever you want, and Sencha will create one more folder inside your project directory called Phonegap or Cordova, and this is where you actually will leave your real native application like Android, iOS, and all configurations for Phonegap and Cordova. And from the third version of Phonegap, they rewrite the also plugin system that they had before, because initially in second version of Phonegap, when you download Phonegap, you have all plugins installed, and you have all classes installed for all functionality. But for example, we need only camera, network, state, and file upload to server plugin. Or we don't need any other. We don't need any other access right that grant by default in third version, but in the second version. But in the third version they change it, and when you install Cordova initially, it's empty. It's only wrapper for native application, and there is no plugin available. But then you can just type Cordova plugin, and for example, this command will install camera plugin, and in a link you can actually see all list of plugins that Sencha collect for us and the usage of this functionality. You can remove, install, add a new platform using command line. I will show it later on the demo, I hope. Then as you just type Sencha -run native, and if you have any path Android or iOS, then it will run automatically emulator, or if device connected, it will run your application on device. This is I don't think that it's really visible structure. I will show it later, the structure of project that Sencha generate for you, and they also add server and watch tool in command line on the latest release of command line, so you actually don't have to use any external command tools. Like I, for example, use run and live reload when I develop for Chrome, when I use Chrome for development, and they have the same and server, so you don't have to do anything else except Sencha command line. So why use Chrome? Because in most of the case you have in local host your application, and you have, for example, an external server with your API that you use. And Chrome, they have a nice feature like disable web security arguments. If you run it with this argument, then rules that exist in Chrome that not allows you to cross-site scripting will be turned off, and you can develop on Chrome directly, or you can call your server from your local host any other server, and it's quite useful. There is also Phonegap support, Adb Plugin that allows you to emulate some Phonegap events, geolocation, device ready events, some other events from a Phonegap. And you can actually run your application in the browser instead of waiting, I don't know, 30 seconds while all classes will be compiled and it will install to your emulator or device. And there is also exists a binary project that allows you to debug your application directly from your phone in your Chrome browser, the same as you debug, for example, web application, and you can select DOM, change DOM, listen to events, see what is the networks, and so on. As we have a functionality of offline-online support, and it was really helpful for in some cases. And there is also maybe a few months ago there was released Adb Plugin and Safari, Adb Plugin for Android, for Chrome browser, and Safari for iOS, that allows you to debug directly from your phone without any external libraries. For Safari it's worked perfectly, but Adb Plugin works for all version of Android. It allows you to, if you run your application in a browser, it allows you to debug, but as soon as in KitKat 4.4 Google had Chromium as default browser, you can debug actually Phonegap and Cordova application as well using this plugin, and it's like debug web application. But most of the time I use just Chrome, and I just run on local host, and see everything that I need except the functionality that is using PhoneGap and Cordova plugins. We used, at least we tried to use a PhoneGap build for building a project. It allows you, what is the benefit of using it? You don't have, if you have a continuous integration server, and you can run a PhoneGap build on a server directly from command line, and then you will just have to download this APK files or package files for your operation system. And for example, you don't need iOS server to run iOS build. And then this is a usage, for example, for remote compiling iOS. And if you for example if you have iOS device and you don't have Xcode, then it will run remotely PhoneGap and download it automatically, install on your device, for example. So we also use TestFlight for testing. It's a tool that allows you to upload the application, set a list of users, set a list of testers, for example, that will test, and you can upload a new version, notify users that a new build exists, and they can just open up and install a new version to the phone, and so you don't have to run to each person and install directly to the phone, or explain how to use Adb tool to install APK without market. They have API, upload API. We don't use it, but I know that it exists, and you can actually also integrate it with a build server. And so you have a PhoneGap build for building, you have a TestFlight for testing, so you can build and upload on using command line tool, and then if you don't want to be rejected from App Store, use only plugin that you need, because some plugins, they have some access right, they require some access right, and then it can be rejected from review. And we also use Google Analytics for tracking. As far as it's just a web application, you just add Google Analytics, and you can track what people click, if there is errors, no errors, what they use and what they don't use. And what I also found that, for example, for Android, there was some issues that I really don't know how to solve if I don't know how to develop for Android. I worked on a project where we built a native Android application, so I was familiar with the issues that we met on during development, but some platform-specific issues, like for example on Android, if you open camera, your application is freezed, and by system it allows your application to kill while you're taking a picture, if there is not enough memory. And then when you come back from a camera with a link to your file, then your application starts from scratch. And if you don't know why, how Android system works, then you can't solve this issue actually. And we didn't try it, but there is a system workspace in the latest version. And if you, like we have a XTGS project and Sencha Touch project, if you need to share something between two projects like models, at least I thought that it will be really cool to share models, because we build a document management system application. We have a complex model, but it not works because class system for Touch and XTGS not the same. And in a Touch you have to specify everything inside config property, but in XTGS you don't have to do this. And then you still have to use only because of this case, you have to use a separate model instead of same. And I can show a small demo about all things that I said right now. Yeah, so you just specify a link to your SDK, the name and the presenter, and in a few seconds it will generate for you some files. And I will show, yeah. So, as you see, or maybe not see, I don't know. There is an app folder with all your your code, controllers and models that you will write in the future, and app.js is like entry point, and some configuration files. And then we just add there was as well. 1 second. Platform. Yeah. So there you specify a name of the. Yeah, when you specify this name, com example test app there should be unique for you, because for Android, at least for Android, and I think for iOS the same. The class this. URL, it's like actually packages that will generate for you. They should be unique, like for your company domain, because it's a unique ID for market. So otherwise you will have to do it again, rename it. So we can add this stuff. And now we can. If you open Sublime, now you see that there is a Phonegap package where you have actually a Phonegap project, and Sencha will care about all actions when to compile your all JavaScript files and CSS files and put it in the right place. So if you will just add Phonegap, we will just go to our platform header Android. So now we at Android platform. If you want to build for Android, and that's actually it. So there now you see that in platforms there exists Android, and if I will add iOS, there will be iOS. And this is actually assets. This is a folder where Phonegap will, where Sencha will put all your compiled sources on this folder, all resources, JavaScript and CSS. And then we just can do like this. -1, and it should compile. Project and install it on your in that case simulator, but it's before that it's trying to install it on
yeah, I checked on in the package.
yes.
Yes.
This is a config file for Phonegap, where you can specify the username and password for remote build. And if you just change it, run again. Yeah, this is 4.4 Android. While it's loading, I can show you. There is a plugin that show that allows you to debug. You see, it looks like my application, or running in the background or installing. On Android for iOS low. There exists my test app that I tested before, so I think we can use it. This up, it's the same. It's compiled, yeah, it looks like it's already trying to install a new version. My suggestion, if you develop on the Mac, then use iOS for usage, because it's much faster. And so yeah, you see, it's actually Phonegap, so it's a native app. I can open there. There is a test app that we built right now, and you in your build process you can add different hooks to change icons and so on. And if you open there, you will see that this is debug tool, so you can browse. Yeah, you can browse your DOM, and like ext is I don't know, is really no ext. OS is Android. Yeah, it's true. So it's actually an Android device, and you can debug and use check what in your store and so on. So it's quite useful. So I hope soon there will be more devices on using 4.4, because now it's only 1. Yeah, that's actually that's it. Yeah, this is a Phonegap. It's a Phonegap documentation with all plugins and the comments and how to use each function. And this is a build. Okay, and this is a test light, and you can see, for example, we have a project, and there is a dashboard somewhere. You can have a lot of apps, like we have Android and iOS, and you can have different subscriptions for different testers and so on. And yeah, that's it. If you have any questions to me about this.
Yes. What platforms are available now besides iOS and Android? Maybe Windows Phone, BlackBerry?
Yeah, there is platform support. What is actually Sencha Touch in the previous version, they built their own packager for for native, but I don't like it because
and what about design of application? Is it possible to make different skins for different platforms?
Yeah, this is it's like a separate part, but this is a documentation, and there is where is it? Theming. We build a different initially a different UI for Android, for tablet and phone. So using Sencha support different. You can create any numbers of views for any specific reason that you want. It can be a version name, or it can be even a device specific stuff.
I'm about built-in themes. For example, this new one, Cupertino, for iOS 7. So can we use it just without any CSS modifications, just to plug it into
Yeah.
our...
Just one line of code to add Android to iOS.
And all your views will be converted.
It depends on if you use as a default Sencha views, then they will change. But if you create your own, you have to manage yourself this stuff. There exist themes. This one. Yeah, there is themes. This is all themes that support now by.
But in your application, do you use different themes for Android and iOS?
Yeah, we have, but for us it's only top for Android. They are on top. In iOS they are on the bottom, and they look differently. In iOS they're like squares. In Android they are just two parts divided for the same size numbers. Yep. No
I have no more questions.
Then that's it.